This next exercise is called prancing. Now that you've learned how to wake up your core, we're going to challenge your core. So just to get you started, I'm going to ask Jessie to just lift her right leg, bringing her knee right up to the ceiling. And I want her to imagine that her leg is light as a feather, and I want her shin to just dangle. And I want her to just lower and lift her leg a few times, kind of getting that sense in her body, not even trying to stabilize, but getting the sense in her body. And I'm going to actually ask you to stick with one leg for now. Just the sense in her body that that leg is light as a feather. It's effortless to move it. And just making sure that you don't go beyond the vertical. So you just come to vertical and put the foot back down. And do a few on the other leg just to get the sense in your body of the freedom in the hip joint. The leg is light as a feather, and the sense of effortlessness. And I want you to keep that sense when we go on to the actual exercise. So for this, you may want to do it. I actually recommend doing it next to a mirror and monitoring your pelvis. Or you can wrap your hands around your pelvis and listen with your fingers. And what you're listening for is I'm going to ask you to have zero movement in your pelvis. It is not a leg exercise. It's a core exercise. So the first move is I'm going to give you some images first. So the image is that I'm videotaping your torso from your sit bones to your shoulders. I'm going to ask you to start moving your legs in a moment the way we just showed you. But your torso is so still that my camera on your torso doesn't even know that your legs are moving. That your torso that's the crux of the exercise. So I'm going to ask Jessie to float her right leg up to that vertical, the knee up to the ceiling, the femur to vertical, the shin is just dangling. And then she puts the foot down, and this is the crux move. With the right foot down, she's going to float the left knee up to the ceiling without shifting her pelvis at all. And she's going to put the left foot down, and the crux move is when you switch from one foot to the other. So she's doing it beautifully. She's making it look really easy, but I'm going to ask her to show you wrong one. So typically what happens is as she lifts the left leg, the pelvis actually tips to the left. Put the left foot down. So I'm going to give her a cue. And what I want her to imagine now is before she lifts the left leg, I want her to imagine that the right side of her pelvis weighs 500 pounds. Now she's going to lift the left leg. Good. And Jessie, just keep going for a little bit while I talk to our audience out there. So I've never told her to tighten or squeeze or pull her belly to her spine, but just by doing this simple movement, we're challenging the core, and it is activating. And after you've done a few, you will probably feel that activation in your low belly.